What up, everybody? It is the Cruel Fan Sports Hour Veterans Day edition. I'm Josh Filer here with Ryan Collins, Whitney Dowds, once again talking about the week in sports and the week coming up in sports. Football,
Yeah,
a lot of football, actually. There's some baseball news in there. And we have a game night, right? We have a game, hopefully. We didn't talk
we'll
about
play.
a pre-show.
We'll play that
game.
towards the end of it. So stick around for that. Check out the link in the description. Sponsored by Ice Shaker. Check out that link. A lot of cool products on their site. So go ahead and check that out. Yeah, we'll play Fantasy Battleship.
Fantasy Battleship.
At the end of towards the end of the show. First up, let's talk about the Patriots versus Jets. I'll let Whitney kind of lead this off. Play lead off for this right here. Patriots versus Jets. What do you think, Whit?
Yeah, I mean, for the first 2.5 quarters of the game, it looked really bad. Especially, the Jets just were doing whatever they wanted on offense against us. But then they showed their true colors. I mean, they had 4 plays after they went up 27-17. They had 4 total plays the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, it's just not going to win you anything. And obviously getting outscored 13-0 is not going to win you anything. It just shows, exactly what I said in my preview article is, the team with the better coaching was going to win the game. Now, the Patriots defense didn't make it easy. But Jacoby Myers had 12 catches for 160-something yards. So we finally had a receiver that did something, which was nice. For the second straight week, Myers actually showed up. But the defense just getting lit up for the first 2.5 quarters was disturbing. And especially with Lamar Jackson coming to town next, I fear that that's only going to get worse.
Yeah, there's pretty much in my mind no hope for this upcoming game. I mean, they're just not playing cohesively together. I mean, you look at the Jets and just what we should be expecting against the Jets, and frankly, the Jets beat us for the majority of that game. So, yeah, I mean, a couple bright spots there. Jacoby Myers obviously playing out of his mind, or at least Cam's getting on the ball more and he's getting open. And, Harris was doing good up until the injury, so we'll see what happens with him going forward. But, they were doing some things right, but there were a lot of mistakes on defense this week, a lot more than have been in the past. They're just letting guys get wide open and just, Jackson falls down and lets a touchdown go in. I mean, there's just a lot of room for improvement there. So, yeah, against the Ravens, I mean, you never know what can happen. I always say that in the NFL, you never know what the outcome of the game is going to be. But going into it, I mean, Ravens are, making some turnovers, but I don't think that there's enough hope for the Patriots there against such a highly staffed team that the Ravens have. So, what's funny is we've been talking about the offensive line and so many problems they're having. It seemed like when on Monday Night Football, they just kept on talking about how good the offensive line was. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, this has been our major problem of the whole year. And they just kept on going on and on about how good the offensive line is. And that's why the running game is doing so well and everything like that. I just couldn't believe those comments from ESPN there. But anyway.
They had old notes. They accidentally had notes from 5 years ago down.
Yeah, they just kept on talking about it. Yeah.
I mean, they did have 159 yards rushing in that game.
Yeah.
So that was good, and they actually held an opponent to under 100 yards rushing for the first time in 3 weeks or something like that. Just too many pass plays given up, and I will say this though, and you think a veteran quarterback would be smarter than this, but how in the world do you throw on the first play after, we cut the lead to 7?
Yeah.
They decided to throw a deep ball, and basically J.C. Jackson baits him into that interception. Like, you have to know as a veteran quarterback that's won a Super Bowl MVP, and is basically the like veteran leader on that team, at least besides Frank Gore, on that offense. How do you throw that ball?
Yeah, it's but he made a lot of better decisions the rest of the game. I mean, he's getting dimes like going 40 yards to receivers that are wide open. So I don't know. I mean, like, that team is a dumpster fire in itself. Like, there's no hope for them at all. Maybe they'll get a win, but it's just more of a draft position situation there for them now.
Flacco was looking good though in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it was.
Flacco.
Yeah, it's
breaking out 2012 Flacco.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, he was looking pretty decent. So, Greg Darrigan makes a comment. Tough game coming up against the Ravens. Yep, that's definitely going to be a very tough matchup versus that highly trained staff that they got there, like we said. So, all right, Eagles on the bye week last week, getting some much needed rest. I said that before. I said last week. This is probably the bye week that the out of all bye weeks, this is the week that this team needs it the most over any team, just to get healthy, get some of their receivers back if at all possible, and get some of the other players, besides the star guys, is other injuries in the defense and everything like that. They get a somewhat easier of a team coming up against the Giants. They played them 2 weeks ago, so it's or 3 weeks ago, I guess, because of the bye week. But we'll see what happens with that. Josh, you got any thoughts on the Eagles versus Giants this week?
I mean, what are the Giants? What are they? 1-7, so 1-8, maybe. I think they're 1-7. I mean, they're a bad team on paper, but I mean, it's a divisional rival. You know what I mean? And the NFC East games are always close, or they're dog fights, or they're high scoring. It's you never know what you're going to get with a division game like that. So, and I mean, I think the Eagles are rolling now. I think, yeah, like you were saying about the rest was so badly needed. It's still not enough to get Deshaun back. Still not enough to get Alshon back, but you got these other guys emerging right now. So we'll see in Fulgham and Ward. So we'll see what happens. And then I'm not sure if Miles Sanders is back. He was out too. So I don't know. We'll see. It's just a lot of guys getting banged up. But the Cowboys lost. That was good. That helped things. I thought they were going to beat the Steelers, and I was like, oh, no, it's not going to help. That's going to hurt. But
yeah, we got
Steelers, so
two comments here in in Facebook. Brad Davis says, none of you will ever know the pain of us older fans knew for the Patriots. That's definitely true. They've, we're spoiled as Patriots fans. That's for sure true. But, I'm kind of excited for it's weird to say, but it's almost exciting for the Patriots to be bad this year, because then you get to see more of a rebuild and see how they handle that going into next year. A lot of glaring issues that need to be fixed, but the salary cap issues will be relieved next year, and they have a ton of money that they can go out and get some guys. So you can't use that same excuse next year. Plus, you got Cam on the 1-year deal, only paying him a certain. I think he got like $1 million or something. So
you're not going to draft another Tom Brady, though, so it doesn't really matter. Y'all going to be garbage again for another 50 years.
Well, you could trade up in the draft and get a better quarterback.
But they don't do that, though. That's not the Patriot style, though, is it? Though
well, they might have to this year. They might have to. And they've traded up for picks before, but when you have
they never trade up though. They usually trade down though, aren't they?
When you have such a glaring problem for a quarterback, it's either you rely on Cam and you make extend his deal, or you decide to get a better quarterback and get a new guy in there. I don't know. They've never really or is there a chance of bringing back Mr. 49er there, seeing if he'll sign with the Patriots. I don't really know how much I like that idea, but I think that this is, So
I think Jimmy G likes being in San Francisco, man. I would be too. Even though that's the hardest, that's the best division in football right now, the West, NFC West. They're in last place, and what are they over? They're like what 4-3, 5-3, 4-3.
I don't know their actual record, but
or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, they
But
haven't.
they're like the only division where like the last place team has like over 500 or better, So he's not going back. Screw that. Patriots had their good run, man. You had a good 20 years, man. You can't be good every year. Yeah. I remember when the Patriots were trash. I remember that.
Yeah, it's been a while, but anyway, Erica brings up a good point in the chat. Top fan Erica Collins brings up
top fan.
No way Cam's getting extension with the way he's been playing right now, and agreed Jimmy G wants to keep his San Fran fan base going. I added base in there for you because I think you missed a word. But anyway.
Top fan checking in.
Yeah, so back to the Eags a little bit. Greg Darrigan comments on Facebook, and he says that watch out for the Giants. They're pretty sneaky at 2-7, which I agree.
I think they're 2-7. Okay,
they've given.
Sure, of course, that's what I'm saying. Like they could go out there, like the Eagles could come out and like score 3 points, and then like Daniel Jones goes nuts and he actually runs and actually scores instead of trips and falls over the squirrel. That damn squirrel tripped him, man. That's what happened.
I was going to say, all their games the last couple of years, whether the 2 last year and obviously this year, have been close. 1 score, like
I know,
maybe barely 2-score games. So it's just a matter of who delivers in big moments. Unfortunately for the Giants, it's just the Eagles. Carson Wentz has just been too good in those moments. So
that's right. He's going to be too good again, hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank God. Please do it.
Yeah, this is right around the time of year where Carson Wentz turns into a piece of glass and fragile and just kind of breaks apart across.
It's like week 11, bro.
Okay.
Nah, like week 11 or 12.
We still got
a few weeks.
It's week 10, so.
We got time. We got so much time before that happens.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to a little bit of MLB news. Alex Cora signs back with the Red Sox. Bring back Alex Cora. I'm all for it.
Hilarious.
It's a really good. There was actually some more news on this, but I'll let you guys kind of react to it a little bit first, and then I'll drop a little bit of other news on this.
I can go first if you want, Josh.
Go ahead, Whit.
It's interesting. Because I've been against the Smooth for the beginning, but something that kind of reinforced that thought in my head was the I don't know if you guys saw the Launow, I think, I forget his name exactly, the former general manager of Houston. I can't remember his first name right now, but it's like Lasnow or something, who came out in an interview, I don't know if it was this week or the week before, where he talked about his role in the cheating scandal. And how there are players and or organizational staff that are involved in Houston that are still there that were part of it, and I think there's not as much that has come out that should have come out. Like there's more to the story, obviously, in terms of like things we don't know. So I think a year is not long enough for like Cora, for Hinch, and for others to be out, considering what they did. And I don't agree with him coming back to Boston because I felt like they need a fresh start. But if now that he's there, he has a lot to prove because he's clearly taken away a lot of trust from a lot of people on his ability to manage a team without cheating. So he has a lot to prove. And he came out and said that, which is good. But yeah, he has a ton to prove because obviously he lost the respect of a lot of people as well as the Astros as well. And I think we've only hit the tip of the iceberg in terms of the story. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops going forward and how Cora is able to bounce back and maybe prove that they can do this without cheating 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things here. So the if you don't like winning, I guess you don't bring him back. But if you're into
Uh,
winning, then you bring him back. But the other thing is, Alex in general. I mean, if if you're gonna say that like he was the only one involved, I mean, there was a lot of other people's involved in this scandal, including actually I saw an article in the New York Post today that said that they actually secretly brought back the guy who like was the replay guy who actually did the cheating himself, who actually recorded it. So they brought him back. It was kind of interesting to see that they would go so far to even bring back that guy when like why do there's a million people that could do his type of job or like be part of the organization. You bring back that guy, it's almost like because he was suspended for a year from the MLB as well. So it's almost like saying like we really don't think that there was cheating and ownership has this feeling about it. Brad brings up a good point in the comments here on Facebook. He said that ownership had this plan all along, and I do kind of believe this just based on like the interim manager that they had, and then the season, the 2020 season, just overall looking at it, like 60 games, everything like that. Like, okay, let's just put somebody in there for a little bit. And we know that this guy isn't going to be a manager going forward. We're basically setting him up to fail, and he's just a placeholder right now. Instead of like going out and they did some research this year and had a couple interviews for a few different guys, but it was kind of just everybody knew that Alex Cora was coming back, and it was just a waiting game to see what happened. I think that the presidential election actually played a little bit into when the announcement came. They wanted a little bit more eyes on the Red Sox announcing him back, I'll say. So while everybody was so focused on the election, they didn't announce it. They've known for a while that this is who is going to come back. So, but I mean, Alex gets the job done for me. I'm happy. I think he also, just having being able to speak Spanish and that adds a whole nother dynamic to the game and being able to communicate with players in their language versus not being able to. I mean, I just think it makes him more relatable to the players. I think, do people deserve a second chance? I think so. So, yeah. So, anyway,
I think it's hilarious that he came back, and that because he's tied up in that whole all the cheating stuff, and baseball really doesn't care, which is just funny. I don't know. I mean, it's just they should just come out and say that instead of like trying to act like they really were trying to discipline people. Yeah, exactly what you said. Like, yeah, a year's not enough. Like, if he come back get a job, then why isn't let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what's the big deal? So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny that that like in the NFL you can get suspended for, and we'll get into this later when we play Fantasy Battleship. There's a question on suspensions, but when you're suspended in a game for like a hit or something like that, it might be a couple game suspension or something like that. But like this was a season long suspension. It's different in baseball. It's less games in football, but it's almost like hitting someone on the field is more of a suspension than what Alex Cora got. And when you really think about it, about being able to, but I really do believe in second chances and that there's more to this story than what has gotten out there. And, there's a huge story that will come out eventually about the Yankees. Like I said last week, there's they have that all in the courts right now. They're tying it up right now to make sure that news doesn't come out. And I think when that news comes out, it's rumored to be even more worse on the franchise than what the Red Sox had their situation. I think also just like the management just doesn't care, right? They kind of made it clear from the start, like, well, we'll listen to the whatever the report comes out, and we'll wait till that report comes out, then we'll make a decision and everything like that. But they knew what they were going to do all along. They knew that Alex Cora was their guy. I mean, bring him for a season, he gets a championship. It's hard to argue with those results. But and let's be clear, while I do think that the cheating scandals are somewhat similar, what was happening for the Astros was 10 times worse than what was happening in Boston. And
but they still cheated and won the championship.
But it wasn't for that season particularly. But anyway,
tainted.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like having buzzers or like, banging on trash cans, things like that, like actually getting calls for signs versus like having like more replay footage and maybe alerting guys like before the game that, I mean, I've said it once, I said it before that there's in the dugouts themselves, Nesson's on replay, like right there. So if you want to see what a guy is calling, take a look up. Why don't they remove those TVs that have the actual like replays of the games going on the whole time? So
no, I know that's true. That's true.
Like how much it really plays into it, I don't know. But again, we'll see what the Yankees scandal when that comes out. Obviously, Greg Darrigan in the comments, Red Sox fan denial. They won a World Series when they cheated, best record in baseball to worse. Which actually, could be representative of Alex Cora not being the manager, obviously. And like I said, when the Yankees scandal comes out, it will be earth-shattering to that franchise. More Yankees news. DJ LeMahieu rejects Yankees $18.9 million offer on his contract. This was kind of news that everybody saw coming to a certain extent. The reason being is because he's worth more money now. He's a little bit older of a player, but the way, players and teammates are actually calling him like the machine. So the way he's been hitting has just been on fire, and you can't deny how good he is at the position. More of an impact on the offensive side of the ball, obviously, but there have been some rumors about maybe the Red Sox making him an offer. These kind of trades or these kind of deals only really happen one day. Red Sox usually either trade or the Yankees pick up Red Sox players. It's just the way it works. Hardly ever does someone go from the Yankees to the Red Sox. It's just not the chain of command there, I guess, or not what.
Only if you're Babe Ruth, I guess.
Yeah. So, well, he went from the Red Sox to the Yankees.
I was going to say he went the other way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
So again, reinforcing my point.
I was just solidifying your point. I was
Right.
helping Ryan out. Good point.
Thank you.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just we'll see what happens with him. He's actually the one Yankee player that I actually like on the whole Yankees team. He's the one guy that I actually respect a lot. He's very much just a great hitter, but just like mechanics guy of the sport of hitting, of everything like that. So Josh Labossiere comments should have kept Mookie. Yeah, obviously, that's old news. I don't really like this year of 2021, we're not going to talk about Mookie Betts anymore. I'm like sick of hearing about it. It's just
wow.
It's like he went where he went. He wanted to be there. He didn't want to play for the Red Sox anymore. Whatever he says happened did not whatever situation. He wanted to be a Dodger for life. So let's just say, moving forward, I don't want to hear any more Mookie Betts news. I don't know, Whitney, are you tired of hearing about Mookie Betts? Because I certainly am.
I guess, yeah. He's moved on. So honestly,
Yeah, he could. The other thing is that was worse is like them in the World Series. He couldn't have showcased his abilities more. Not only was he making catches that were unbelievable, but he's hitting home runs, he's stealing bases, he's getting America tacos. It's like, there's like the guy couldn't have done literally anything more in the World Series to be impactful.
And he wouldn't have done anything in terms of, he would have had probably similar numbers if he was in Boston, but the record for the Red Sox would have been no different this year.
Yeah.
Because we just had too many problems in other positions.
Yeah,
So,
it wouldn't have mattered for him this year. I mean, good for him. He got sent to another team, and he ended up where he wanted to, and he got a ring. It's great for him. Now the only thing he has to do is somehow make it to the Yankees, and then he'll have the Red Sox, Dodgers, and Yankees rings. Pretty crazy if that would happen.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it won't happen. But similar stories have happened on the Lakers with Rondo, for example, having a Celtics and Lakers ring. I think we talked about that before, how cool of a situation is that to have from two of the most historic franchises in the NBA to have two rings from them. All right, let's move on. A little bit more NFL news since nothing really is happening in other sports right now. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen with the NBA as far as the
draft next week, isn't it?
Yeah, the draft, and a couple LaMelo, I guess, big we'll see what happens with the Ball family.
Oh my god, I can't believe they're gonna have 2 top 3 draft picks in that family. I can't.
Yeah, the only thing that the dad got right was like the talent of his sons, right? Like, I mean, if he gets 3 sons drafted to the NBA, it's pretty crazy. Having those genes, and
it helps that like LaMelo grew like 6 inches too. He's like 6'7" now.
Yeah,
last time I saw him, he was like or whatever. Like I remember this footage of him like in high school, and he was like this little kid, and like all of a sudden now he's like humongous now.
Yeah,
like, what the hell?
It's crazy. Just like him in general just wasn't very good at basketball, but it's the whole nature versus nurture thing. Like if you have enough of the genes, and then this guy was just like saying like, okay, like you done your homework, go outside and shoot like 1,000 free throws, and then you can like go to bed. Like it's just like this guy was just like, well, it paid off, I guess, because they're going to be in the NBA making millions of dollars. So it's and the whole shoe deals and everything like that, obviously that adds a ton of money to them. I wonder how much kickback the dad's getting on those kind of, how much money he's making.
Shut up, like hush money. I mean, like, okay, this is to shut up.
Yeah, he's pretty much been banned from, I think, like ESPN and like most
he should be.
Well, after what he did on First Take.
Yeah, he made those comments towards the girl. I forget what her name is, but yeah, I saw that whole thing. Yeah.
The girl.
Well, it was a girl. I mean, what am I supposed to? I can't remember everybody's name.
To the girl.
Okay, you just thought that Babe Ruth got traded from the Yankees to the Red Sox, so
let's
just, let's just. If I don't remember a girl's name on a show that I don't watch, I think I'm all right.
How dare you not know Molly Kira's name? How dare you not know it?
All right, moving on. Brady sacked 13 times this season, and he is tied with Big Ben for the 3rd all-time sacks with 513 sacks. Yeah,
that's crazy. Because they had some really good offensive lines.
I was a little bit surprised by it because I don't remember it. I mean, I see it happening a lot now with Tampa Bay. Like he seems to be holding on to the ball way too long and getting sacked all the time. And 13 is obviously a high number, but he is as
high as Wentz.
Yeah, Brett Favre is number 1 in this position, 525 sacks. Obviously, this is the one record. Josh Labossiere in the comments says he's full of records, which is true. Nothing hating on Brady here, but this is one record that you don't want to have to surpass Brett Favre. Holding on to the ball longer. Bruce Arians throwing him under the bus quite a bit after the loss. I mean, putting up 3 points, not scoring a touchdown. This. Yeah, the interceptions. Some of those interceptions too, just like a prayer. It's crazy, but not a lot of offense of all. And I wrote an article. You can check it out on cruelfan.com, a review of the game. But if you take into account like the just the receivers that they have now, the talent that they have on the field, right? Of course, Godwin had his injury, and Antonio Brown's first, game coming back after his suspension or time off or whatever you want to call it. So a little bit of an interesting situation there, but to have Gronkowski, Godwin, Evans, like all this talent on the field, and yet you can't even score more than 3 points. You got halftime, but anyway, what did you think,
I
Whitney?
still think they're pretty good, and their defense is a lot better than they played that night too. Anyway, I think something was off with the whole team, or New Orleans came out and just like punched them in the mouth, and they couldn't recover. Like that Tampa defense can play pretty well. That Dean guy is really good.
Yeah, their defense is good. Like they definitely have some pass rushers, obviously, and Sue there and everything. Like they got like a good team. It's just all the games that they have been on primetime TV. They just haven't shown it to people who don't watch every game. Like they haven't shown it to just Sunday night football, Monday night football watchers. They haven't shown Thursday night football watchers, those kind of single games. They just haven't shown that they can. And they got beat by the Saints twice now. You could say that the first game was kind of a fluke because, it's the start, Brady on a new team and everything like that. But to score 3 points against the Saints, which, by the way, doesn't have that great of a defense. They played very well against the Bucks, but they're really not great defensive team. So what did you think?
I mean, it's just I don't have obviously all the scores of previous games even before Tom got there, but it seems like the Saints have always given Tampa trouble, not only offensively but defensively as well, regardless of who's at quarterback, and not like every game, but like it just looked like more of what happened in the first game, of where yes, they had some plays here and there, but the difference this time is they just couldn't sustain drives. And like I said, I think it was 3 interceptions that Brady had in that game.
Yeah, at least 3. I think he's tied for interceptions with Cam Newton now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they can't happen. And then Godwin getting hurt, Mike Evans getting locked up by Lattimore, Gronk. Where did he go in this game? Because
he had a target in the end zone. He dropped the ball. Hey, Josh, can you turn down your volume a little bit? Thanks. But yeah, he had a sure touchdown on a route that basically Gronk and Brady have always had success with, right across the middle, slant route, and he dropped the ball, and that was probably their really only chance of scoring a touchdown in the whole game. I picked the Saints plus 3.5. Brad comments Vegas special. Yeah, it was I don't know if it's a fluke game or you could check out my Cash 'em with Collins picks on Instagram, Cruel Fan Official, or but I went 3 for 4 last week, so I had a decent week there. It was a crazy game. Arians comes out afterwards, I think either today or yesterday, saying that they need to reduce the snaps that AB gets, which is kind of interesting. He was on the field a lot, and obviously they want to showcase him at the beginning of the game and everything, his first game back. But it's kind of interesting to say, we just got this guy, so talented receiver, all these great things about him, and then say he's kind of playing too much. I think we'll bench him a little bit more. But it's talking about, I guess, getting Fournette going more and relying more on the run, less on the pass, and set up the play action a little bit more. I don't know. Josh, what do you think?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he's been off a long time, and he was going through some craziness, before, leading up to him being back. So, yeah, maybe it was too much too fast for him. We don't see what goes on in practice and behind the scenes and stuff. So, Arians knows more than obviously we do. But I mean, if you want to focus in on the run, I guess, between Fournette and Jones, that's good. And like maybe you bring in AB on like, you know, third downs or like, you know, certain special situations when you need like, I don't know, you need a quickness over the middle or something. You need some guy, you know, because that's, you know, in the slot, he's deadly. So I don't know. I mean, Arians he's just got an embarrassment of riches now in that offense. And, you know, they have a really good team on paper and they should, I mean, you know, if they run into the Eagles, they're going to lose, obviously. But they should, you know, be right there in the NFC, like, you know, at the end of the year. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right, what do you think?
Just final thought on that is the fact that they only had 5 rushing attempts the entire game is a little embarrassing. I mean, they have Ronald Jones, they have Leonard Fournette. Like, how do you only run the ball 5 times?
Yeah. Brad said the same thing in the comments here. They only have 5 rushing attempts in the game. Good point. They need to, you know, set up more plays down the field by relying on that run. I heard an announcer this week during the game say that it's almost backwards now. Like the pass sets up the run now. Just passing is so heavy in the NFL these days that they're not just running the ball. And the only team that I would disagree with is the Patriots. It seems like they're relying on the run a lot more, and they're getting back to ground and pound football, just handing off the rock and making that play. So
Rex Burkhead doing it for y'all.
Yeah, Burkhead is obviously an amazing addition to the team. Him and, you know, I'd like to see a little bit more James White, but that whole synchronization between James White and Cam Newton, there's obviously something a little bit off in there. I mean, James White was so heavily utilized by Brady, and he just hasn't been the same. I don't know if it's him or if it's the communication with him and Cam or what it is, but there just isn't the same respect or opportunity this year for him. We'll see what happens with Harris and how, you know, that plays out, because if Harris doesn't come back, you know, he was starting out to be what everybody hoped that Sony Michel would be. So, you know, if he doesn't come back, you have to rely on Burkhead and just Taylor and White there. You know, it just becomes harder to. And then, of course, you got Cam, who's running the ball decently well, but he just needs to hold on to the ball. Even, you know, Whitney and I text during the games, and even when he's reaching for the goal line, it just seems like he's careless with the ball. He did get, you know, scores obviously that way, but he was very you know, just like like any of those could have been knocked away and been a fumble. So I'd like to see, like, you know, especially when you're on like first and second down, like if you're not getting the touchdown, like it's okay. You still have like 2 more, you know, opportunities at it to make a better decision. Instead, he's reaching across the goal line on first down. It's like, all right, like, well, we don't need to fumble again and ruin the game. And then you just have to give a bunch of excuses why you didn't win at the end. But anyway, we'll see. We got Colts versus Titans Thursday night football. Couple interesting storylines. People are saying, you know, do you bench Phillip Rivers? Is there, you know, is there improvement on that team in general? The Titans are obviously full steam ahead, it seems like, with you know, Henry, and just like even Tannehill's playing very well. So you know, this game's going to be a little bit closer. I do think that I'll make a call now. I think that the Titans will pull this one out. I'm not sure what the spread is right now, but this will be one of the games that I'd look at for Cash on Collins. So check that out. But yeah, you guys got any thoughts on Colts versus Titan? Whitney, you want to start off?
Yeah, I think really the key for the Colts having any chance of stopping Derrick Henry, obviously, because if you can at least limit him and force Tannehill to have to consistently beat you. I mean, look at what Cincinnati just did the other week. I think Henry still had over 100 yards rush. Oh no, Pittsburgh, I think is who is. Did they? Yeah, I think it's Pittsburgh, right? Yeah. Pittsburgh limited him to, I think, 70-something yards rushing and made Tannehill win the game against them. That is what you have to do to beat them. Not that Tannehill can't, but, you know, you have to limit Derrick Henry because if you don't, you have no chance of winning the game.
Yeah, and they got some good receivers there too with AJ Brown and other players that can definitely show out. But Derrick Henry's the lifeline of that team. So if you can limit him, then you're able to make more of an impact, obviously. So, Josh, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to what they can do, what the Colts can do against Derrick Henry. You know, yeah, like what Whit was saying, like they do have a good defense. The Colts do, at least in fantasy they do. I've picked them up multiple times, and they've done well for me. So they've been playing well this year. But Derrick Henry is a force, and but Tannehill can make plays, and he has some playmakers out there on the ends too. So it's going to be interesting. But it depends on what Colts team shows up. Seems like they can't be very consistent on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm rooting for the Titans. I think the Titans is a good story. I mean, I want them to. I like Vrabel, even though he's played for the Patriots, but I like him. I would like to see him get to a Super Bowl or something. But so
that's big of you. That's really big of you to like Vrabel first.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm
man of the people.
I'm a mature adult at times.
By the way, Al Galore, I mean, I don't know how many times I got to say it. This guy broke the Eagles chains, right? Got to a team, and he is on fire. This guy's making amazing plays out there, dropping the ball every time in front of the Eagles fans out there. But put him on a Raiders team with Derek Carr with a real quarterback and fireworks.
Wow! Wow! The real quarterback.
Well,
yeah,
talented.
Hey, the Chargers decided to turn into the Aguilar's hands from last year and drop a game touchdown. So
yeah, not a good not a good showing for Chargers fans. 2 weeks in a row, coming down to the last play and just can't seem to get it going. Although the other side of that is Herbert or Justin Herbert, or is that his last name? I think, yeah.
Herberger, it'd be awesome if that was his name.
He is he is amazing.
Oh.
He's lights out. He's what a weird storyline by coming into the game by basically because of medical freak accident, but he is. They never looked back, right? They never without a doubt about who their starter is now. So, all right, we're gonna play our game. Colts versus. This is based on the questions are different. They're not solely based on the lineups from the Colts versus Titans, but the lineups themselves are. So basically, the idea of the game is Whitney and Josh are going to go back and forth and pick players from the two teams. I'm going to give them a list of players. They'll, do a lineup. And based on the trivia questions that I ask them, they will be able to fire at the players on the other side of the ball and be able to, if you get 3 strikes, you take a player out of the game. And if we're going to play a little bit differently this week, so 3 strikes and you're out of the game, but if you get 1 strike, it's 1/3 of the points. So I'll divide whatever the total fantasy points is by, 1/3. And then, so you'll still get points so you can kind of move your cannonballs around a little bit to decide where, who you want to target. So, Colts versus Titans, fantasy battleship. Whitney won last week. Very close game. It was 51 to 51, but the decimal points were in the favor of Whitney.
Really?
It was really that close. Yep. Of course, Metcalf was taken out of the game by Whitney, and he was on Josh's team. So shows how much, if you get these questions right, you can impact a game. So congrats to Whitney for winning last week's game. We'll play this week. So Whitney, you get first pick. Your choice is Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
All right. All right, Josh, Ryan Tannehill or AJ Brown?
Tannehill.
Okay. Whitney, AJ Brown or Phillip Rivers?
AJ Brown.
Okay. Josh, Phillip Rivers or Jonathan Taylor? So because Whitney didn't pick a quarterback,
Can I have two quarterbacks?
You can have two quarterbacks.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll do Phillip Rivers.
Okay. Whitney, Jonathan Taylor or Corey Davis?
Shit. You know what? Corey Davis.
Okay. Josh, Jonathan Taylor or Jordan Wilkins?
Jonathan Taylor. Thomas.
All right. Whitney, Jordan Wilkins or Jono Smith?
Let's see. Smith.
All right. And that leaves Jordan on Josh's team. All right. So let's play. All right. First question, since Whitney picked first question will go to Josh. Josh, who scored more fantasy points week 9, Phillip Rivers or Ryan Tannehill?
Tannehill.
Tannehill is correct with 14.6 points. In our league, anyway, I know that leagues score differently, but Phillip Rivers had 8.08 against the Baltimore defense. So something to look forward to for Cam Newton is maybe scoring around 8 fantasy points. So if you got Cam Newton, you might want to bench him this week.
Cam Newton runs, though.
Yeah, he does run. He's going to have to run a lot against that Baltimore defense, I'm guessing.
That's not going to end well.
So, Josh, you got it correct. Your choices are Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, or Jono Smith to attack.
Derrick Henry.
All right. So an X on Derrick Henry. He will lose so far 1/3 of his points this week.
Yeah, he will.
All right. Whitney, how many rushing TDs does Jonathan Taylor have on the season? Over or under 5?
Under.
Under is correct with 4. I kind of buried the lead there, but anyway.
Buried the lead or gave him the answer?
Yeah, I gave him the answer.
No, that was an easy answer to have.
All right.
Buried the lead by giving him the answer.
Well, my handwriting was a little messed up here.
I don't care. I you know what? I like a challenge. It's fine.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So, Whitney, your choices are to fire at Ryan Tannehill, Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor, or Jordan Wilkins.
Read that from the top again.
You got the 2 quarterbacks in the game,
yep.
And Jonathan Taylor or Jordan Wilkins.
Ryan Tannehill.
All right. So Ryan Tannehill will lose 1/3 of his points. All right. Josh, who is the all-time rushing leader? Your choices are Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, or Walter Payton.
Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith is correct with 18,355 yards. Good job there. Okay, so you can fire at A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
All right, firing at Derrick Henry again. So Derrick Henry will lose 2/3 of his points.
Yeah, he will.
Okay, Whitney, who is the all-time receiving leader? Is it Larry Fitzgerald, Jerry Rice, or Terrell Owens?
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice is correct. 22,895. It's not as close as I thought it would be, although Larry Fitzgerald is up there with 17,344. He's currently second, unless the guy plays for another 5 years, which maybe he will. But my favorite player in the NFL, by the way, Larry Fitzgerald. Terrell Owens has 15,934 points. So you can attack Ryan Tannehill. You haven't You fired at him once. You can fire at Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Wilkins.
Ryan Tannehill.
All right, so Ryan Tannehill will lose 2/3 of his points so far. Okay, Josh, who has a better record this year, the Broncos or the Texans?
The Broncos.
The Broncos have a better record this year at 3-5. Texans are 2-6. Try to pick two teams that maybe you aren't watching as closely.
I watch everything, Rye.
Yeah,
I see it all.
So your choices are Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, Corey Davis, or Gianno Smith.
I mean, how many sink a battleship?
3.
Oh, let's sink that Derrick Henry ship then. Let's sink it.
All right, so Derrick Henry battleship has sunk. This would be the point in the game if we were a higher budget show that an alarm would go off and we would celebrate the sinking of the Derrick Henry battleship. Okay. Who has a better record at home this year? Whitney, the Browns, or the Ravens? At home, who has a better record, the Browns or the Ravens?
Browns.
The Browns are correct. The Browns are 3-1 at home, and the Ravens are 2-2 at home. Would you like to sink the Ryan Tannehill battleship?
Yeah, bye Tannehill.
Okay.
That's
Bye,
right. I got another QB in the holster.
Yeah, good luck against that Titans defense. Have fun throwing 3 interceptions.
That's true.
It's awesome.
All right.
We're gonna have a Renaissance game. Watch.
Nope.
All right, Josh. Here's a quote for you. I just have to realize if I sneeze the wrong way, it'll be a flag. It'll be a fine. If I tie my shoe the wrong way, it might be a flag. It might be a fine or a flag. It is what it is. Was this Darrell Revis, Myles Garrett, or Odell Beckham Jr.?
I'm gonna say Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett is incorrect. It was Odell Beckham Jr. who said, I just have to realize if I sneeze the wrong way, it'll be a fine or a flag. If I tie my shoe the wrong way, it might be a fine or a flag. Odell Beckham Jr. I think this was more in relation to when he got fined for like wearing the watch or other things. I don't know. Kind of interesting. Yep. Erica Collins, top fan, chimes in saying Battleship sunk. Thanks for calling out that. Whitney, so nothing happens. You got the question wrong, but no damage.
I sunk one of his too, Erica.
True.
I sunk one of his too.
So who is older, Frank Gore or Adrian Peterson? Whitney.
Frank Gore.
Frank Gore is 37 years old. Adrian Peterson is 35 years old. So you're correct. Whitney, you have sunk the Ryan Tannehill battleship, but still out there are Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Wilkins, or Gianno Smith.
Rivers. Rivers, right?
Okay, so Rivers will lose 1/3 of his points for the Thursday night matchup. All right. Last opportunity for you, Josh.
This is worth 4.
This is worth 1 point.
I thought you said 4.
Well, we can, if you want to make them 2, we can make them 2, but then Whitney's question is going to be 2.
No, it's fine.
Okay, 1 point. Who has the longest suspension in the NFL in the last 5 years? Is it Myles Garrett, Josh Gordon, or Vontaze Burfict?
Oh. Is it Gordon?
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
All right. Vontaze Burfict has the longest suspension in the last 5 years, 12 games. Actually, I was surprised by this. Myles Garrett, Vontaze is a repeat offender. So that's why he got such a suspension. And actually, he's not back in the NFL now. Myles Garrett obviously came back. Josh Gordon got signed by the Seahawks, although he doesn't play. So I was actually kind of surprised by this just based on the hit that Myles Garrett gave, obviously against the Browns there, that helmet swinging. Against the Steelers there, the helmet swinging. Mason Rudolph, that whole image and that game was crazy. The craziest thing about that hit was in garbage time. Like, it did not matter at all. The game had already been decided. There was no point for the hit at all. It was just like out of nowhere, just like hits him. And then of course, Garrett comes out with all these rumors that Rudolph had called him, racial slur and things like that. And those were kind of debunked later that didn't happen. But you got the question wrong. So no damage done. Whitney, this is your opportunity to really inflict some pain on some of those battleships out there. Which team has the most NFL losses? Is it the Lions, the Giants, the Eagles, or the Cardinals? Which team has the most NFL losses?
All right, give me the teams one more time. Lions,
Giants, Eagles, or Cardinals?
Lions.
Okay, Lions is incorrect. The Cardinals is correct with 763 losses. Lions 670, Giants 608, tied with the Eagles 608. Although this is kind of interesting because of the dates that the teams were established. Cardinals were actually established the first 1920, so they have the lowest percentage loss with 42%, whereas the Eagles are in second with 49%. The Giants have the highest percentage loss with 53%. Kind of interesting there. So no damage done. So the results of the game are Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry will not be in the lineups for either team. Both those battleships. Hey, you guys got a lot of questions right this week. This is really good because he got rid of 2 star players, both from the Titans. So it will be an interesting matchup now. AJ Brown still out there. Phillip Rivers. Whitney got an extra strike there, so 1/3 of the points there will be taken away from Phillip Rivers. Jonathan Taylor, Corey Davis, Jordan Wilkins, Yano Smith still out there. So interesting game this week. We'll see if the strategy pays off. Josh obviously going with 2 quarterbacks, losing 1. Whitney, unfortunately, losing Derrick Henry. This has been Colts versus Titans Fantasy Battleship. Pretty good game this week. And if it's as close as last week, again, 51-51, and just the decimal points making a difference in that game. So pretty crazy. All right, well, that's pretty much all we got this week for the Cruel Fan Sports Hour. Make sure to check out that link in the description. Sponsorship from Ice Shaker. Check out that link in the description. It has been a great show. How'd you guys like the game?
Loved it.
It was good. I mean, I wish I had lost Tanny, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. Good game. Thanks for all viewers out there. Thanks for the comments and keep those coming next week when we are live. Cruel Fan Sports Hour live on Wednesday nights at 8:45. We're going to try to keep that time slot available for you guys. So check us out next week from Whitney, Josh, and Ryan at Cruel Fan Sports. Check out the page at on Facebook and also the site www.cruelfan.com. Thanks for the support. Always appreciated. Cheers.